It was the Yamaha MOTIF.
I actually went back to the day when I played the motif.
Things like the motif sounds, because obviously the motif still being my favorite synth.
For many months now, I've spoken to you guys about the motif. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It finally happened. Ladies and gentlemen, Motif XF. That's right. The synth of my dreams is finally here. The very first synth I've ever played at the music store, next to the Gem Equinox. And ladies and gentlemen, boy, is it a beast to play and a beast to own. So yeah, we might be getting a review soon, so stay tuned.
Craziest thing about Motif XF, I know exactly where everything is. So you got the 8 faders, you got the 8 knobs, transport controls where you can actually record performances as well as voices. We got the arpeggio, which is good. Remote control, I'm using Sonar obviously because I've used Sonar since forever. Octave up and down, you got effects, master effects. Right here you got switches and function buttons, data wheel, increment, decrement with arrow keys, exit and enter. Here you got your modes, so you got voice mode, which is standard, performance mode for 4 sounds at a time, song mode for creating linear songs, pattern for dance music, sequencer to pretty much control your transport. So there's that. We got integrative sampling because we got a sampler on board. We also have a mixing page. You can pretty much access the USB drive in the back. And then you got tracks. You got your sounds, and apparently this guy is compatible with a flashboard. So if you actually load a flashboard from under here, and once you power it on, you don't have to worry about losing sounds anymore because the flashboard is basically non-volatile. So hey, that's good.
All right, here we go. USB, tack, power, tack, audio.
And before we actually start this review, the first thing I'm going to do is install the all file, because right now, as of this moment, the all file that's installed on Motif XF is the Motif XF all file itself, which means all the sounds are taken. There's no initialized voice. Basically, every sound is pretty much full. Whereas if I install the classic or the ES all file, I'm gonna have an extra bank, which is user 4, all initialized, which means I can import all my samples, everything like that. Hopefully I can reverse engineer the all file to make it loadable back to the default setting without having to factory reset this entire keyboard. So, all right, so with the keyboard on, I'm just gonna go quickly to voice. I think it's file. Yep, file. There's my motif bank. So what I'm actually gonna do is hit F4. I'm gonna hit yes, because I'm gonna create a new one. So I'm just gonna hit SF1. I'm gonna hit enter. And yes. And now it's saving the executable. And there we go. There we have it. Motif XF, all file. Now, what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna do something that's pretty volatile. I'm actually going to go into the all voice file. There we go, all voices. And I'm gonna select ES. So I'm actually gonna load the Motif ES. One thing I love about Motif XF, it is compatible with all the previous motifs. So Motif Classic, Motif ES. I don't need to worry about XS because, I mean, it's all the same sounds. The only biggest difference is that Motif XF has more performances as opposed to Motif XS. So the file is complete. So now I'm just gonna exit out of here. And I'm just gonna go into voice mode and I'm gonna select user 4. Okay, there we go. Now we have an initialized bank. So with that said and done, one thing we're gonna do before I start, I'm gonna just import the flash files and then we're gonna get started. Save this as an all file and then I'll revert back to the original motifs. And then once we go to ES, I'm gonna show you how to import samples onto this beast. So one other cool thing about the motifs is that finally I can actually show you how a sequencer works. So yes, this sequencer is fully functional. So we're going to be doing a bit of file importing, so WAV files. I'm hoping to use the sampler, so that's going to be something. And finally, we got, of course, the sequencer. So I think we have a workstation that's in working order. So hopefully I could do a complete demo of this entire synthesizer. So let's go, shall we? All right, so let's quickly load a sample. Here I got 3 samples of 3 different files, 3 of which are made famous by 3 different people. We got this one called All 8 Oscillators. This was made by the famous Dom Sagalis from Yamaha. We got Mo Jones, which was featured in the Motif ES demo from Bert Smornberg. And then we got Clubworks, which is actually my favorite. And this was made by the one and only Nick Batt from SonicState.com. So what I've done is I've set it to Clubworks. I've gone ahead and went all the way to the WAV files, because that's where all your WAVs are stored. As you can see, I'm using USB, so I can pretty much do everything with that. I've set it to an initialized voice because obviously I already imported the Motif ES library, which already has user bank 4 as initialized. So I can pretty much load 128 megabytes of ROM immediately into the bank. So I could just do so. So I'm going to hit SF2 and it's going to load the sound directly in memory. And if I hit exit, there we go. So the sound is there. You can't really hear it because I'm using headphones, but the sound is there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit edit and we're going to categorize this. So one thing that I want to bring up for this importing of samples thing, I want to see if there is a way to import them as waveforms so that then we can use them with the integrative sampling. Because at the end of the day, the end goal for all of this is to slice this file so that I can basically play the entire keyboard with the same tempo without affecting the pitch. So yeah, I think you get the idea of what I'm going for. Basically, I want some time stretch on this thing. Clubworks. Hit enter. And there we have our voice file. So it's pretty much a pad. If I go into play mode, yep, this looks, I guess that's pretty much it. The only thing I will change is basically I'm basically using a thunderous sounding arpeggio. So that sounds good. And with that, I think we're done here. So right now we're just gonna hit, so now we're just gonna jump out of there. And there we go. There's our sound, Clubworks. And then if we want to store it in memory, we just click store. And yeah, user bank 4, initialized 1, enter. Are you sure? Yes. And now we have the sound present in memory. So if I go to category search, there it is, Clubworks. And so we have our first initialized sound already loaded in memory. And the only thing I would like to do now is, well, basically see if there's a way to chop it. So, all right, so I already tried the integrated sampling with the slicing feature. Unfortunately, that did not work. Actually, what I did instead was I also did something very important. So as you can actually see in the all files, I'm just gonna go all the way to all, and there you have it. So what I have are basically all files from the Motif Classic, Motif ES, Motif ES2, because the ES bank is split into 2, and then of course you got Motif XF. Motif XF does include the Motif XS files, so that should not be a problem.
Why did I do this? Well, because originally when I started importing these sounds into my my preset banks, what happened for some strange reason was when I loaded the Motif ES sounds, specifically Motif ES2, what happened was, for some reason, I was unable to re-import the Motif XF files. I'm not sure why. It was a bug, but I wanted to make sure that this never happened again, because the problem was, if I would have lost those Motif XF sounds, I unfortunately would have had to do a factory reset, which is unfortunately what I had to do, and because of that, I lost the files in my flashboard. So the good news about this is that I can load these without having to worry about losing data. The only data that I lose are basically these 4 user sounds, but because it is all file, I can reload them whenever I want, wherever I want. So right now I already have it set to ES1. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna load back the Motif XF, because obviously it's the default bank. I'm gonna set it to user, and I'm just gonna hit load. So SF2. And as I said, the great thing about the all files, I can just reload them whenever I want. I don't ever have to worry about overwriting files. And besides, user banks 1 to 4, they're already saved in the all files, so I could just recall them by hitting either ES1, ES2, and the classic. And also, by the way, ES2 does have the user sounds that I just imported, so I got 3 sounds already in the flashboard. I'm not gonna lose them anytime soon because I already made the all file for it, so I could just re-import them anytime I want. I go to exit, I'm gonna go into the user sounds, and there it is, Natural Grand S6. As long as that one stays up there, all of my Motif sounds from the Motif XF and Motif XS are present in memory. So yeah, that's pretty much how to save your data without having to spend an arm and a leg just to factory reset the damn thing. So yeah, I hope this hack was very helpful for you guys.
my Trance vision. I love this one. Pitch bend, sometimes useful. Alright, so I got Neon Girls here. Performance control. I'm gonna choose, I think, number 3 maybe? Actually, no, number 1. Cool thing about performance control is that I can control up to 4 voices with the real-time control knobs. So yeah, pretty useful. Let's try a category search. Let's go for some pads, shall we? I'm sorry, I love playing that melody.
Alright, so I just unmounted Motif XF. Now I'm gonna load Motif ES, which has user bank 4, and it has the preset sound Clubworks that I installed earlier. So let's play some more sounds, shall we? Interesting. Looks like the filter itself, it doesn't really step that much. Alright, I think that's enough for ES2. You guys have already heard Mo Jones. Also, you guys have heard Club Works, so that's interesting. There was one little major bug that I discovered, and that was when I played the original files. For some reason, the format of the voice file still stayed in memory. The only problem was I had to reload the actual WAV file itself in order to actually play the sound. I'm not really sure why, but right now I'm just doing a little bit of experimenting here to see why this happened. So I'm just gonna hit exit, and I'm gonna, okay, yeah, now I see why. It's because the flash files were removed. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna re-import the file. So user, load, yes. And then when I exit, store, enter, yes. So that's saved. Let's go back. Let's go to file, bring in all 8 oscillators, load, yes. Exit. There we go. Store, enter, yes. Okay, there we go. And lastly, my favorite sound, which I don't know why it got deleted as well, but it must be because of the flashboard issue. So load, yes, and Club Works. Store, enter. All the sounds are saved. So yeah, I think that's enough for ES2. Let's jump to the next bank and let's play some more sounds, shall we? I guess they were trying to compete with the M1. I mean, it is called house piano, so.
velocity sensitivity here. So if I really dig into the key, the louder it gets. I want to try something here. Let's go down an octave. I wonder, maybe I can use this patch as a theme for one of my characters in my show. Probably give it to Liz, maybe. Ah, this one, steel drums. You know what? I think I'm committed to this. I think I'm gonna make a song out of this as soon as I finish the demo. I just gotta remember, synth steel drums, so that's in the bell category. Okay, yeah, I'm definitely committed to this sound. So as soon as we get to sequencer, that's the first sound I'm gonna use, and I'm gonna try to build up a song with this whole thing. So that's right, ladies and gentlemen, we actually are getting a beat making episode today as this video drops. And the only thing is, it's gonna be a brand new challenge. So I've never done a challenge before, and this is actually going to be my first one. My first challenge is Dallas. That's right. All the music that we're going to be beat making is going to be coming straight from the Motif. No cakewalk sonar, no VSTs. Everything is all native in Motif. Matilda, 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 she take me money and run Venezuela. Who is it? Oh, that old-fashioned doorbell. Panther. I'm wondering if they're referring to the Elka Panther. Interesting. I'm actually trying out the ribbon, and there is a big difference here. If I play the note and I don't put the ribbon, it just sustains. But if I use the ribbon, the pitch decays for some reason. At least it's good to know that the ribbon works. Bit of a tracking issue, but other than that, I mean, it's still a good arpeggio. It's just you just have to time the melody right.
And it looks like pretty much completed all of ES1. So the next few sounds I'm looking at here use a bank 4, obviously initialized. So yeah, we pretty much looked through, well, not all of the acoustic sounds, but as much as possible. So I think the next one that I'm gonna do would be Motif Classic, and then we're gonna jump right into the sequencer. If I can find a way to bring a microphone, then maybe we'll have time to do the sampler, but I mean, at this point, we've pretty much gone through basically 2 hours worth of sounds, one from the XF, two from the ES, and then the next one's gonna be Motif Classic, which is actually the last bank of the 4 models. So next I'm gonna unmount ES1 and I'm gonna load Motif Classic, and let's listen to the final bank of sound, shall we? So this is Motif Classic. The sounds that originated from Motif Classic actually came 3 years after Gem Equinox. So let's go back to 2001, shall we? Where's Hari? The number you have reached has been disconnected.
Good old Laputa. That's an interesting sound, the glass choir. Is it comparable to Galaxian from Gem Equinox? Probably not, but hey, I mean, at least it's a really warm sound still. I want to try a bit of filtering here. I have to admit, this has to be my favorite pad in Motif Classic. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. I love me some Halo. Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. I really want to bring a microphone into this because I know for sure Motif XF does have a built-in vocoder. So all I need to do is get a microphone and find out how to set this whole thing up. But I'm glad this thing actually has it because I really like my voice to sound like a robot, to be honest with you. So sustains. Drum and bass, I could really use that actually. Synth pop, I can use that as well. I guess, and with that, let's go back to Motif XF. Load. And that's it. These are basically, well, as I said, not all the sounds, but these are basically all the voice files that I've played so far. And mind you, I've played this thing for like around 2 hours now, but I've basically covered Motif XF, ES1 and 2, and the classic. So yeah, that's pretty much all the sounds I can play at this point. So yeah, you think for one moment that this thing actually has like 1,300 sounds, but when you add the all files in and all the other libraries, you start accumulating much more. And that's the beauty about Motif XF, is the fact that this thing is endlessly expandable. So I mean, the only limit you have exactly is pretty much the length of your USB as well as your flash drive. And by default, you should have at least 2 gigs of flash if you have 2 1 gigs installed under here. So yeah, altogether it's 2 gigs of flash drive plus whatever is in USB. So that's pretty much all the sounds I can play for now. So I guess we can move on to the sequencer then. Okay, so I know I said that I was going to use those steel drums from the Motif ES2 as my sound, but on second thought, because the fact that this video is taking far too long than I expected, I've decided to condense it down and show you at least one part of the recording. But basically, as with every sequencer, you can pretty much make a song from scratch. utilize MIDI banks 1 to 16. You can also load in samples through there as well, so that's a bit of a plus. So right now I have a performance. It's set to Trance Vision, and it's actually one of my favorite performances here on the Motif XF. So I'm just gonna turn on ARP. So the fact that we are in Trance Vision, I like this sound. Back in the old days, basically you had to copy all of your ARPs, all of your sounds, all your effects to your song or your pattern mode, that being these two right here. And when I mean those good old days, I'm talking Motif Classic and Motif ES. I want to go into pattern mode and see exactly what the patterns are. So I'm going to go for an initialized pattern, and I think I'm going to go for this one right here, pattern number 4. So I'm just going to hit exit. I'm just going to go back to the performance. There's my Trance Vision. I hit the record button, and I'm going to select, yep, pattern number 4. And section A. So with that, as you can see, I'm gonna waste 4 MIDI tracks if I go for a performance. All right, let's rock on. And it stops. So now all I gotta do is go to pattern mode, and then I just press play. And that's how easy it is. So I just made a complete performance using pretty much my favorite melody, and now I actually have it as a pattern. So then after this, I could just go to track number 5 and just find myself something to play over the top. So I'm just looking for a pad, you know me. There we go. I hit enter. And then I could just go to pattern number 5, and I get 1 bar. Here we go. That's it. Done. We are finished here. So yeah, I pretty much just recorded an entire loop using my favorite melody. So I added Trance Vision performance. I actually added a voice file on track 5 being Trance MW, which was a pad, because I mean that's the only thing that was pretty much missing. And there you have it. That's an entire dance pattern. All right, so I just gave it the name. I'm just gonna press enter. And there we have it. So there's our track. For the last time, press play. One thing that I should mention about Motif XF is the fact that the sequencer is less clunky than the Motif Classic. Yes, you've heard me right. I've played Motif Classic, and I found the sequencer was a bit clunkier as opposed to Motif XF. Honestly, with Motif XF, they did such an improvement with the sequencer that now I don't even have to worry about notes overdubbing on top of each other. And that was one major problem that I had with Motif Classic, that I had to do some configurations in order to prevent that from happening. It was a real headache, I'm not gonna lie. Here with Motif XF, I mean, there's no configuration done whatsoever. I just press record what I need to, and that's it. Press store, and yes. And there we have it. Party all the time. If I go back a few, we got other patterns over here, at least 4 of them. These were made by Yamaha.
And this one is my own. Pretty simple. 5 tracks. Well, 4, because, I mean, I don't know what happened to the bass, but that's AF1, so... So yeah, that's basically how to work with a sequencer in Motif XF. Okay, so this next thing I want to take a look at is the integrative sampling mode, because we have a sampler on board. So what I did was I actually imported a drum loop from one of my beat making videos. Obviously comes from Halley and Sonic, so we're pretty much going all Yamaha today. So yeah, I pretty much imported it via USB, and I'm gonna load it into the integrative sampling mode, and we're gonna see if we could try to slice that. So wish me luck. Alright, so again, because of the fact that the Motif bank files, the fact that they're all full, this means I have to load the ES sound bank again, which means right now I'm just loading the ES files, which means user bank 4 will be initialized with those 3 files that I imported earlier in the video. So we're gonna get the Clubworks, all 8 oscillators, Mojones, and pretty soon I'm gonna be adding the next one. So the next one being Hallian drums. So I'm just gonna go to user bank 4, enter. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to initialize voice number 4. So I'm just gonna go to file. I'm gonna go all the way back to WAV files, and I'm gonna go to Hallian drums. Let's try it. Now, I'm not gonna save this yet because right now it's non-volatile, but so we're gonna go to integrative sampling, and all right, here we go. We got Hallian drums selected. If I play it, all right. So now I'm gonna hit F4, which is slice, and this is what we have. So this is gonna be beat 1. Let's quickly audition. And let's see here. I'm just gonna go to 1 measure. I'm gonna do 1 bar, I think. Actually, let's do 4 bar. And okay. And let's go ahead, press SF4, apply, and see what we get. Now, the last time I tried doing this with Clubworks, it did not work. I was trying to slice the sound itself, so... Okay, so that means... So pretty much from here to here, that's pretty much where the sounds are mapped. So I'm gonna exit out of here because I don't think that's what I want. What I really want is, let's see, maybe it's the remix. I think it's the remix function that I'm looking for. So if we hit apply, and mind you, I've set everything to normal settings. If I hit... Okay, so that is not what I want. What I'm looking for actually is the time stretch. So let's see here. If I go to, so we got, okay, so no, this is not what I'm looking for. Let's try normalize. Let's go back. Let's see, what else can we do? Can we maybe record it? And let's see now, if I do, yeah, let's do a resample. And
Yeah, let's do that. So I'm gonna hit standby. Oops. It was F6. There we go. So now I'm just gonna record. Alright, so eventually I was unable to find any way on how to time stretch this thing. Unfortunately, the only attempt I was able to achieve was the slice function, where I pretty much mapped the keys separately to each note. So, I mean, that's a plus side if you're gonna go for, you know, working with samples and everything. Would be really nice to get the time stretch feature working here. So if any of you guys have any idea on how to use or how to operate the time stretch, please let me know in the comments below. I would greatly appreciate it. I guess the final step would be the vocoder. So actually, something I should mention is that I did place an order for a microphone, so that's going to be coming next week, and I'm hoping to record some more sound files. This time I'm going to be using the microphone with the vocoder, but I'm going to have to set it up first, and then we'll play by ear. And in addition, I also acquired a FC7 foot controller, so I'm gonna try to also play the piano next week and see what's the difference between with a controller and without the controller. And yeah, after that, that pretty much will conclude the Motif XF review. So yeah, let's see what happens.
Okay, so this next thing I want to take a look at is obviously the effects processor. So what I mean by effects processor is, yes, apparently there is a vocoder preset for effects. So, synthesis engine, what are we talking about here? We're talking AWM2 coming at you with 8 oscillators. Every oscillator has an EQ, its own effects. If you fire up the VST editor on your computer, you will see exactly how powerful the Motif XF editor really is. So I'm just going to go first into voice mode, and I'm actually going to go to utility, which for some reason is already set, I/O, and I'm going to set the input to microphone. I don't know why it always switches back to Cubase. I mean, I'm with Sonar, so... And then I'm going to go into voice audio. I'm guessing insert L. I am alive, like a rocket, I will go so high. I am alive, like a mixer, I will fly by. I am alive, like a rocket, I will go so high. I am alive, for you I am alive. She's up all night to get sun. I'm up all night to get sun. She's up all night for good fun. I'm up all night to get lucky. Rock, robot rock. Rock, robot rock. Rock, robot rock. Rock, robot rock. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Good fish the job. I'm about to bring down the house.
I really love this vocoder, I really do. Especially the fact that you can actually play this thing polyphonically. Oh yeah. Okay, so some of these sounds are actually not vocoder based, but that doesn't mean we are just limited to a couple of sounds here. So for example, right now we got 1, 2, 3, 4 sounds that are all vocoder based. But there is actually a very little secret that the Motif is actually hiding. And I will show that to you with the effects processor. Okay, for the effects processor, what we're going to do first is we're going to go to maybe something like a synth lead. And I'm just going to pick any thinkable preset right here. I think I'm going to go for the sweeper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit effects, which is F6.
And here's our effects section. As we can actually see, we've already bypassed insert B, so we're gonna put insert L. So yeah, we're gonna keep this as insert A, and the insert connection is insert L. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna scroll all the way, there we go, there's our vocoder. And now, this preset is going to have the vocoder preset. I'm just gonna go to ARP main just for the hell of it. And then if I play the keys now,
this is the sound of the vocoder.
Okay, so to make this easier, I actually changed the voice file. I went for a contrabass solo AF1. If I speak into the microphone, you will hear the sound in my voice using the vocoder output. So yeah, you can tell there is a lot of things going on. Specifically with the effects processor, you can actually turn any sound into a vocoder. Now, unfortunately with this, there is some ups and downs. The biggest problem is that it's hit or miss. So some vocoder sounds will be good, others not so much. I should know, I can actually show you the first sound that I showed you guys. For example, that sweep sound that I showed you earlier. I'm just gonna go back to the effects processor, put it to insert L, put it to the vocoder. This is what the sweeper sounds like. Oh yeah, this is my vocoder. As you can see, it unfortunately fades. So not all vocoder sounds are gonna be perfect. I mean, as I said, most of the vocoder sounds will be hit and miss, but then again, it always depends on which patch you're selecting. Obviously, I made a poor choice. I went for the sweeper, which obviously has a fade at the end of the sound, so yeah. Sometimes you just have to find the right sound for the right vocoder. But because of the fact that we do have a vocoder output, basically this means that I could take any one of the 1,300 built-in sounds, including the rest of the sounds from the Motif ES, Motif Classic, and all those things, run those through a vocoder, and I actually have a vocoder preset already loaded in. So that means, aside from the 4 vocoder presets that I already have, I have much more sounds thanks to the vocoder output. So now let's take a look at the effects, shall we?
okay, so first things first, shut off the arpeggio. Okay, there we go. So I'm just gonna hit F6, which is the effects, and this is our effects window. So as we can actually see, we got 8 insert effects. We got 2 sends, which are insert A and insert B, and then we have the master effects, which are basically, you can pretty much change them however you want. So if we actually look at these effects windows, so we can actually see we got distortion, we got wah-wahs, lo-fi, we got techno stuff like ring modulator. We actually have the VCM effects, so we got EQ, we got harmony, talking modulators, we got phaser, flanger, chorus, reverbs, and of course we got through. So let's do some VCM stuff. So I'm gonna go for VCM EQ, VCM compressor. If you actually want to take a look at these, you could press the insert A or insert B, so SF2. This is what you get is your effects processing. So we can actually pick whatever we want. We could go for classic compressor, multiband, wah-wahs, the auto wah, touch wah, pedals, lo-fi, and of course we could go for noise, digital turntables. So basically there's all kinds of effects to pretty much choose from. So I think I'm gonna go for I'm gonna go for the phaser. And for insert B, I think I'm gonna change it. I think I'm gonna go for not an EQ, but more auto pan. And basically, since Motif XS, the whole DSP processor of Motif XF has improved. So you get lots of effects. So symphonic, two modulars, chorus, delay, tempo delay, cross delay, and of course my personal favorite being the vocoder. Let's choose another sound. Let's go for let's just shut off the arpeggio here. Okay, so I'll go for a compu bass, and once again we're gonna go F6, which is effects. And this time I want to change up insert A. So this time I want to go for maybe early reflection. What is this? Looks like this is a reverb, early reflection. So I'm just gonna, let's try this random. I'm just changing up the reverb. And then for insert B, I think we're gonna go for, let's see, what about digital turntable? Actually, what's funny is that you can actually hear the speaker crackling, so it gives it a vintage record player vibe. Unfortunately, the record player vibe is basically outputted to the speaker, so it pretty much, as of now, all it does is provide crackling noise. But if I maybe adjust this, basically, if you want to go for something like a classic record player sound for output, I think that would be best. Let's go for auto synth. Let's see what this sounds like. Okay, so that's actually very interesting. Apparently, I took an auto synth. It pretty much changed up the entire frequency of the sound. So if I hit exit and I hit the compu bass, so this is what it sounds like with the auto synth and the other insert effect that I just added. If I go back a few and I go back to the original, turn off the ARP, and this is the original. So you can tell there's a pretty powerful effects processor here inside Motif XF. It really is a beast of a keyboard. So, like, if you really want to have fun with the 8 oscillators and all the effects that go with it, my advice to you, definitely get the editor, because it's going to open up a whole new world for you as far as Motif XF or any of the other Motif keyboards are concerned. So, yep, that's vocoder and effects processing. Okay, so it does look like the FC7 does work. Okay, so to assign it, basically all you gotta do is just go to Utility, and you go to F5, which is Control. Once you do that, you're in the Control section, you click SF3, and then you got all your control assigns. And right now I've set it to Foot Controller 1, and I've set it to Channel Volume, but you can pretty much change it to whatever you want. Originally, by default, it was set to Expression Controller. Okay, so to conclude Motif XF, we're gonna go straight to the editor. So I'm just gonna go into File, gonna set up my motif so everything is set up. I'm just gonna hit OK. And now when I go to offline, it should turn on. So if I hit Start, and yeah, you can actually see the Motif XF is actually updating as the synchronization is in progress. Okay, so this definitely does not sound like what I wanted, so let's maybe change it up a bit. CP, Glockenspiel. I think these are the sounds I'm looking for. Let's try a handbell. Okay, so dark light, maybe. Okay, so there's ME, so this must be pads, so. This, I think we're gonna give it a name now. It's got mellow, it's got pad, it's got a handbell, it's got an attack of 27, a release of 14. At the end of the day, it really is a beautiful sounding bell pad. I was actually thinking about going for something like the bell pads from the Roland Phantom G, but honestly, I'm impressed with this. Like, as you can actually see, this truly is a sound sculpting tool. Okay, so finally, with the inclusion of an arpeggio, which I've set to pad MA cycle 2, and effects, I've added VCM phaser stereo, and an SPX room for reverb. And this sound pretty much reminds me of Roland Phantom G mixed with Gem Equinox. So there's some Gem DNA in there because of the fact that I'm heavily using the phaser actually. So yeah. And also, if you're wondering, I called it Beauty Bell Pad because it really is a sound of beauty. And I'm going to store it in memory. And with that, and now we have Beauty Bell Pad in memory. So yeah, with the editor, you can get into some serious sound sculpting with this tool.
Final thoughts. Motif XF from Yamaha. Honestly, I am impressed with this guy. For the last 15 years, Yamaha has been pioneering synthesizers with the Motif series, starting with the Classic, the ES, Motif XS, and of course the XF being the final iteration of the Motif series. Because I'm going to be brutally honest with you, before Gem Equinox, when I was a kid, I went to the music store and I played the Motif when my father was going to rent some equipment. That's right, I played the Motif while my father was getting equipment. Which Motif was it? It was the Motif XS. And even though it was limited compared to Motif XF, hey, I still had some fun. And you know what? I'm still having fun today because Motif XF has exactly the same sounds as Motif XS. The biggest difference is more performances. And it has compatibility, which means I can actually load the classic sounds and the ES sounds from the past Motif models. So, you know what? That's a plus for me. Honestly, there are so many things that I love about it. The 8 faders, the 8 knobs, the fact that I got a vocoder output for basically 1,300 sounds and counting. The fact that this thing can do trance music, which is actually the main reason why I chose the Motif over every other synthesizer. When I found out that this thing can do trance music, I was like, damn it, I really want to get this thing now. Even though at the time when it was being sold, they were selling it for $2,500, which unfortunately was expensive, but at that time it was considered the flagship. Nowadays you got the Yamaha MOTIF as well as the Montage. However, I heard that the Montage has been discontinued since then, and I heard that somewhere around in October Yamaha might release the next flagship, so we'll have to see what happens. Honestly though, AWM2 is awesome. 8 oscillators, its own effects, its own chorus, its own reverbs, and like I said, you can make some pretty powerful sounds using those 8 oscillators. It really is a sound sculpting tool, so if you really want to dive in, definitely go for the editor. So basically, chronologically, I played the Motif first, being the Motif XS, because that was the very first keyboard. Mind you, I was small when I went to the music store to play Motif XS. And then that's when I went to play the XF, and because I couldn't afford it, I decided to go for the Gem Equinox. So yeah, Motif XF came first, Gem Equinox came second. And to be honest, I would take both synths, the Equinox and the Motif, as my top 2 favorite synths in my studio. So I would definitely pick Motif XF over everything else because, I mean, let's be honest, this is a complete workstation. The sequencer works, all the sounds are accessible. I got vocoder preset. I have a lot of knowledge of all the controls because, like I said, I've played Motif in the past, so I know exactly how to navigate across the keyboard, and everything is fully functional. So at the end of the day, we have a complete review of a workstation that's in perfect order. So yeah, that really is a plus for me. Do I see myself using a Motif XF? Absolutely. Is it possible to control my favorite DAW with it? We'll have to see. But right now, as of this point, I'm just reviewing Motif XF as a standalone synth. Hopefully in the future, if I can get this guy up and running with Sonar, then we can see how well it fares. But from what I can tell, if I set it to Sonar, it should map to all the controls, provided, of course, if active control technology is enabled. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens. As of now, this is what I have to work with. And to be honest with you, I really enjoyed it. It really is a powerful keyboard, and it really is an inspiration to play. And also the fact that I have performance control on Motif XF, it really makes this keyboard a DJ's dream. I can use the 8 faders and the 8 knobs to filter the effects. I mean, what's not to like about Motif XF? And not to mention the fact that I actually invested a lot more on Motif XF than I did on the other synths. And the fact that I got microphone, foot controller, and of course the flashboard. To be honest with you, this really is a beast of a keyboard. So if I were to rate this out of 10, definitely 11. Let's be honest, these are by far the most realistic sounds I've ever heard out of all the keyboards I own at home. This one is definitely the most realistic. I mean, yes, there is the Roland Juno DS, which is based off the technology of Phantom G. As far as flagship goes, this is definitely a workhorse. So in conclusion, I would like to give a shout out to Michael Williams, again, the guy who sold me Motif XF. Without your help, honestly, I wouldn't have been able to own a Motif XF until now. As I said before, I've spoken about it for months, and the fact that I finally have it now in my possession, it really is a powerful synth. And you know what? To be honest, next to Gem Equinox, the Motif XF is by far one of my favorites. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, finally after a decade, I've finally reunited with Motif XF. And you know what? It really is an inspiration of a keyboard. So, and yeah, that's Motif XF. So well, thank you very much for watching. Take care. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.